Vote for Trump and solve your problems. That's the only way. That's set to go. But then we had a little election that went astray. So we have to be careful. You got to get out there and you got to watch those voters. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. You got to watch election night. You know, it used to be election day, election night. Now it's election month. Now it's election period. Some of these things going for 53 days. It's terrible. We want to bring it back.
Donald Trump is currently dominating the Republican presidential primary nomination race in an absolute landslide, despite his ongoing legal issues and him clearly losing a step when it comes to speech delivery and rally appearances, which makes this, from Ron DeSantis, even more laughable than it already is.
And what Donald Trump does now, he is wedded to the teleprompter. He can't get off that teleprompter. Anytime he does, he says things like, don't vote. He's telling people not to vote, like we have all the votes we need. Really? Like, wait a minute. You lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton in 2016. You don't have all the votes you need. It's just shown this is a different Donald Trump than 2015 and 16. Lost the zip on his fastball, has a sense of entitlement, all this stuff, doesn't think he has to go through and earn it like other candidates. And that's just not going to fly in Iowa and New Hampshire.
We've been following this fake feud between DeSantis and Trump since Ron rode the post-COVID anti-woke culture war wave that backfired tremendously for Republicans in last year's midterm elections. And while it is undeniable that Trump's speaking abilities aren't what they used to be,
starved Hamas, and we took Hamas and Hezbollah and all of the rest that I don't think we've ever seen where they kill babies. Just like I said years ago, we're going to turn Christmas around. Remember, the department stores they refused to use the word Christmas. They'd have red, they'd have everything perfect. I said, where's Christmas? Wonderful people one day. I didn't know you had flies in Iowa. I hate flies. But we will make the Capitol magnificent, more beautiful than it was. We're going to make it more beautiful than it was. I look at the sidewalks. The sidewalks are all crap. And I'm telling you, you shouldn't pay those dues. You should not pay your dues because they're selling you to hell. You're going to be going to hell. You're not going to have any jobs. All those cars are going to be made in China. Every one of them. You can forget it, Michigan. You can forget it, South Carolina. You can forget it, everybody. All of those cars are going to be made in China. You know, FDR was a great speaker, right? He was a great speaker. He sat because of a situation, but he was an elegant, beautiful, elegant, and eloquent. That he was a great speaker, and they show him speaking, and rah, rah, America will be great. We were attacked today. You have to understand, now they show this guy who can't put together two sentences, and they say, that's one of the finest State of the Union addresses since FDR. And it just drives you wild. Not
any attempt at attacking Trump on this front is meaningless because he's giving his supporters exactly what they want, to be entertained by someone while having their biases confirmed in real time, completely ignoring any sort of self-reflection or self-criticism, something that DeSantis and his team still haven't grasped.
We need a candidate that can win the general election. There's too many people that just are not going to vote for Trump at this point, is my view, and I think Chris as well. But you have another wrinkle now. RFK Jr. will be a vessel for anti-lockdown and anti-Fauci voters if Trump is the nominee. If I'm the nominee, they all go to me because I stood up against Fauci. I'm going to clean out CDC and all those. It's a big part of my platform. With Trump, though, he created Fauci. He elevated Fauci. He never fired him. He said that he did everything right during COVID, claims he saved 100 million lives, with the mRNA vaccine and all this stuff. And I think those voters who are understandably still very frustrated with how this federal government handled COVID and the lies that were told and all the mistakes that were made with no accountability, they're going to want a vessel for that.
At this point in his campaign, all DeSantis is doing is boosting his image on the national stage in hopes of taking over the party's reins from Trump once Donald is out of the spotlight. Because when it comes down to it, their policies and the effect they have on regular Americans will be almost identical.
A vote for Crooked Joe is a vote to turn the United States into a hotbed of jihadists and make our cities into dumping grounds, very much resembling the Gaza Strip. Have you been to the Gaza Strip? A vote for President Trump is a vote to secure the border, and it's a vote to keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country.
You're right. if you let people come illegally without a sanction, you're going to continue to have this problem. The sanction is you get deported. So we're going to do it. We'll start with the more recent arrivals and work our way back. But it's going to be a big program, similar to what Eisenhower did in the 1950s. And I'm really the only candidate that you can trust to do it. I mean, I know Donald Trump's promising it, but he said the same thing in 2016 and didn't deliver on it.
Woke, fellas, okay? You don't want a woke. You don't want a woke. I don't think he wants a woke military. It's not going to go woke. They would like to have it woke, but we're not going to let that happen. But now we have death and destruction all over the planet because...
Yes, you do have to fight the woke in the halls of government and in legislative chambers. And we have supermajorities as Republicans in Florida, so we will win all those fights. But you also have to be willing to defend your folks against this agenda being shoved down their throat from all these other institutions where these people aren't necessarily coming up for elections. The President of the United States has Article 2 power. Who controls the executive branch?
Right.
Is it the elected president, or is it some bureaucrat in the bowels of the bureaucracy that can't be fired? And so I think push needs to come to shove on this, but whoever gets a majority of the Electoral College has the right to impose their agenda through the executive branch.
Right.